everybody, Miss Glad here. I hope that you had an awesome snow day yesterday. I know it was sure a nice surprise this morning when I woke up and there was no school because I was feeling kind of doubtful on Sunday night. So I hope you enjoyed your day. I'm at an appointment today for my daughter, so Mr. Asleason is going to take over the class. And so I thought I'd put together a short video for you to follow along with. So what you will need is your blue note packet, and we will be on page 24 today. So Mr. A, if you want to pause the video right here, have students get their blue note packet out, that would be helpful. All right, so going back to Friday, I introduced a brand new standard form for algebra. And you might remember standard form looks a little bit different. We are used to y equals mx plus b. And that is slope-intercept form. It's awesome. It's great when we have a rate of change and when we have the y-intercept, the start. And so on Friday, we did a little bit of work around this new form called standard form, noticing we've got a times x plus b times y equals this c. And so what we did was we learned that really standard form is just a way to find your x and y intercept. Standard form, you don't actually see the slope, but when we graph it, we can find the slope. And so standard form, once again, over here, it makes it very clear for us to see the point of intersection on the x and the y-axis. So the x-intercept, remember, you know the x value. So in this case, it would be -2, 0. That would be my x-intercept. Whereas the y-intercept, and we've been doing the y-intercept now for quite some time. If you remember the y-intercept where it crosses on the y-axis, the first number always starts with a 0. So this would be 0, 2 for the y-intercept. So our work today is just to go through finding those intercepts and graphing them. Now, a couple of things here as we start graphing. Standard form, ax plus by equals c. And on page 24, that first equation, you're going to see this. Standard form. Notice that the x and the y are together. 2x plus 3y equals 12. And there's actually two ways that we can graph using standard form or graph an equation. What we could do is we could rewrite it into slope-intercept form, just getting the y alone. And we'll do that today. And otherwise, we could find the x and the y intercepts, and we could graph that way. So today, we are actually going to do both of those. So get your pencil ready, and we're going to jump into this first one. So page 24, on the left-hand side, graphing in standard form, and then we're going to graph the same equation, but we're going to switch it to slope-intercept. So 2x plus 3y equals 12. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is in order to graph this, it's in standard form, I need to find what is the x-intercept and what is the y-intercept. And you might remember this from Friday. I kind of like to write the intercepts just like this. Now remember, your x-axis always goes from left to right, and your vertical axis is the y. So we're just going to take this equation, we're going to solve for x, and then we're going to solve for y. So let's find our x-intercept first. To find the x-intercept, the y, I already know has to be a 0. So where you see a 0 right here, it's 3 times 0, which is just 0. We can just eliminate this for now and focus on 2x equals 12. And so if 2x equals 12, I'm going to divide by 2 on the left, divide by 2 on the right. X equals 6. So right now, I just found that my x-intercept is 6. It can be found at 6, 0. So on my x-axis here, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go ahead and make a point right here. That is my x-intercept. Now, I want to find my y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, what I want to do is I want to put a 0 in for my x. Because if you remember, the y-intercept, always the x value is a 0. And so right up here, where I see my x, I'm going to put a 0 in. That's not a 20. It's a 2 times 0, which is 0. So I can just ignore this whole part right here. And really, I just have 3y equals 12. So these are really short equations. I'm just isolating my x to be alone and the y. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Here I get y equals 4. So I have found my y-intercept to be 0, 4. So on the y-axis, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make my point right here. And now what I can do is I can take this equation. It is now graphed using 2 points. And you're just going to do your best line possible. Oh, there it is. I have graphed using standard form. There's a picture of my line. Pretty cool. Now, I want to take the same equation, and what I'm going to do is we are going to convert it into slope-intercept form, just so that you can see that we should get the same result. So over here on the right, can you please start by writing 2x plus 3y equals 12. And for us to get this in slope-intercept form, what we have to do is we've got to get the y alone. So I'm going to take my equal sign, I'm going to put my line in, and we got to get that y all by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this 2x. I'm going to go minus 2x on the left, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go minus 2x on the right. Now I'm going to draw my line. My 2x's cancel, and we've got 3y equals 12 minus 2x. Now I'm almost done, but not quite, because I got to get this y alone. And you might remember here there is a multiplying by 3. So to do that multiplication, I'm going to divide by 3 on the left, and I've got to divide each of my terms by 3 on the right. So this is all stuff we've done previous, but now we're kind of putting it together. So let's simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so there's my 1y equals 12 divided by 3 is 4 minus 2 divided by 3. Well, that's actually a fraction, and I'm going to leave it as 2/3, and that is connected to my variable x. So right now, I hope you see that, oh, this is completely in slope-intercept form. By getting my y alone, I can identify the b, which is my y-intercept at 0, 4. Let's go over and find our y-intercept at 1, 2, 3, 4. So here it is. And my slope right here, the measure of my slope m, is negative 2/3. Okay, I can see it's a negative because of that subtraction sign. So let's graph using our slope, starting with our b. I'm going to go down to right 1, 2, 3, make my point. Down to right 1, 2, 3, make my point. Now, what I've done, and I can add more points if I wish, down to right 1, 2, 3. Okay, go ahead, take your pencil and connect that as best you can. And what you should see is these lines are identical. And so we have to be able to graph in standard form and slope-intercept form, and we could do either. Personally, I think it was easier finding the x and y intercepts on the left. It was quicker. On the right, we are familiar with slope-intercept form. Both are valuable. Sometimes it's easier to graph when you have slope-intercept form. It just kind of depends, but we can do both. So let's take a look at our next one. Number 2. Oh, I like this equation. This equation is actually going to go pretty quick. Notice that this equation right here is in standard form. And how I can tell the x and the y are together, x plus y equals 5. So let's do our standard form first. So we want to find what is my x-intercept, what is my y-intercept. I can graph these 2 points and get a line just by finding my intercepts. So to find the x-intercept, we put a 0 in for y. And so I'm going to ignore this, but look at how quick we get our x-intercept. X equals 5. So my x-intercept is found at 5, 0. So on x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to find my y-intercept, I put a 0 in for to find the y-intercept, I put a 0 in for the x. So I'm going to put a 0 in for the x because I know my y-intercept always starts, the x is going to be a 0. So 0 is in for my x. And look how quick this equation is. I'd have to do literally nothing. Y equals 5. So my y-intercept is 0, 5. So on my y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to make my point. Now, we're going to do our best that we can to connect. It's hard to do straight lines with my mouse here, but I think you can see that picture pretty well. That is in standard form. Now, let's take our equation, x plus y equals 5, and let's convert that into slope-intercept form. So to do that, find your equal sign and put your line in. Now this is a pretty quick step because we got to get our y alone. I'm going to subtract x on the left, and then I'm going to subtract x on the right. When I do that, my x's cancel, and we have y equals 5 minus x. Now notice that equation, I can see my b, my y-intercept is 5. So b equals 0, 5. And so my y-intercept is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right up here. And my slope, if you notice the slope is connected to x, it's a negative x, which remember it really means it's just a negative 1x. And so negative 1x, the measure of my slope, is negative 1. And that's going to look like negative 1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And I'm going to go all the way until I hit my x-intercept right here. And so what you can do now is take your pencil and again, do your best to make your line. Look here, we have 2 clones. So whether we graph in standard or slope-intercept, your lines should look exactly the same. And you can pick which one you like better. I think you probably agree with me on the left here, standard form was a bit easier, especially for this one. Okay, let's try our next one. Number 3. Now number 3, I'm just going to do standard form on this one. And so join me on standard form. I'm going to take negative 3x plus 5y equals 15. And again, I want to find what is my x-intercept, what is my y-intercept. So to find my x-intercept, we know, whoopsies, this is a parenthesis. We know that the x-intercept, we put a 0 in for the y because we're going to know our x value. And so here, I'm going to put a 0 in for the y. So it's 5 times 0, which is just 0. So ignore this whole piece. So we actually have negative 3x equals 15. Divide by negative 3 on the left. Divide by negative 3 on the right. X equals negative 5. So I have just found my x-intercept to be negative 5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is my negative 5. Again, that is my x-axis. So now that I'm done with my x-intercept, we need to find the y-intercept. To find my y-intercept, I know that the x value has to be a 0. Okay, that's got to be a 0. And so what I'm going to do is where I see the x, I'm going to put a 0 in for x. but negative 3 times 0 is 0. So all of this cancels. And we really just have 5y equals 15. I really like how short these equations are. We can get divide by 5, divide by 5. Here's my y-intercept. On my y, I go to 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make my point. And right here, I'm going to graph. Last one, let's do this last one together. Number 4. So number 4, and again, I'm just going to do the standard form here. And so we need to find, hey, what is the x-intercept? So where is it going to cross on my x-axis? And what is the y-intercept? Where is it going to cross on my y-axis? So sometimes I like to fill in where I know the zeros go. On the x-intercept, I know my y is 0. And on the y-intercept, I know the x is 0. So I kind of like to get those set up so that when I find my x and y, I can just plug them in right away. So let's do our x-intercept. I'm going to put my 0 in for y. So it turns into 2 times 0, which is just a 0. So I've got x minus 0 equals negative 6. So again, x on this one, x just immediately is negative 6. And so on the x-intercept, I'm going to go left 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. And now to find the y-intercept, I need to put a 0 in for my x. Now be careful with this one, because by putting a 0 in for x, this is gone. That subtracting 2y is really negative 2y equals negative 6. So just because that negative out front, don't forget about it. We need it. It makes the 2 negative. So divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. My negative 2's cancel over here. So y equals 3. My y-intercept is 3. So on the y, I'm going to go up to 0, 1, 2, 3. And now I have both of my intercepts, and I can graph a really nice picture using those 2 points. So I hope that went okay for you. You do have an assignment today, and that assignment is homework 5.7. And so, Mr. If you want to pause this while you get out the homework 5.7, the level ones, you are going to find just the x and y intercepts here. So what is the x-intercept? What is the y-intercept? So use your eyes to pinpoint, oh, here's my x-intercept. It is at negative 5, 0. And my y-intercept crosses right here. That is at 0, 1. And a good way to kind of know if your zeros are in the right spot, if you're finding the x-intercept, you always know the x value. If you finding the y-intercept, your y value is always in the y position. So you're going to do the same thing for B. What is your x-intercept? What is your y-intercept? Then for C and D, same thing. What is the x-intercept? What is the y-intercept? And so for C, 2x minus 4y equals 4. This is in standard form. You're going to find the x-intercept, you're going to put a 0 in where the y is. So 4 times 0 is 0. So this is like a big old 0 right here. So I really just have 2x equals 4. If you solve that for x, you will have your x-intercept. Then you got to find the y-intercept. And so to find the y-intercept, remember that you must put a 0 in for the x. So the next equation would be negative 4y equals 4. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, and that will give you your y-intercept. Letter D, same thing. What's your x-intercept? What's your y-intercept? Then I have some graphs for you. So take a peek here at the graphs. I'm going to, whoops, didn't mean to do that. That was the weather. Well, I didn't really want the classic. I don't know how I got that, but I'm going to click on this. And so for level 2, I'm not sure how I can erase that right now, but on the level 2s, you can see for A, B, and C, you are graphing in standard form. And then if you look on the back side, letter D, these are in slope intercept form. And so find the M, find the B. That's going to be the best way for you to do that. Let me clear all there. So what's your slope? I see my slope here is -1/2. And my y-intercept here, my B, is 0, 1. So on D, E, and F, you get to graph using the slope-intercept. So right here, again, 0, 1, I'm going to go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. And I think the last thing I put is I put a couple semester spirals in. And so give those a shot. We will definitely go through all this tomorrow. And I will see you then. Work hard. Have a great rest of your day.